Personal finances. I am 30 years old and I have a net worth of $694,000. Let's talk about it. I am a huge advocate of financial transparency. And let me just be clear, the whole point of this video, I'm not trying to convince you that I make a lot of money. I'm simply trying to convince you that you can make a lot of money. And if you save and invest your money properly, you can also be financially stable in the future by saving and investing your money. So let me just be clear. I'm not trying to convince you or brag that I have a ton of money. I really don't care about that. I genuinely love personal finances. I love talking about money and finances, investing, saving. And so I'm just making this YouTube video because I actually like talking about this stuff. I make a lot of videos teaching other people how to start a bookkeeping business. So if you've been a long-time follower, you already know who I am. But if this is your first time seeing any of my videos, this is my first time making a personal finance video. I have hundreds of videos on my channel dedicated to showing you what I do and how you can also do it. But if you're not interested in that, that's cool too. In this video, I'm going to talk about my personal finances and how I was able to save $694,000 by the time I turned 30 years old. Stick around until the end of this video because I'm going to tell you exactly where all of my money is, where it's invested in savings accounts and checking accounts and real estate. I have all of this data because I track my numbers. I used to use a phone app called Mint, but they recently stopped supporting their Mint app and they switched to Credit Karma. Long story short, I don't really like the new Credit Karma app. So now I just use a Microsoft Excel spreadsheet. I'm going old school. I'm manually entering in all of my numbers and I update it about every single month. And it's really cool. I can track the growth of each of my investments, each of my rental properties. I can track the growth, my savings accounts, my checking accounts, my bank accounts, my loans, my mortgages. I can track all of that stuff on a monthly basis in Excel. It's super easy to see. It's super accurate. I know that I'm doing everything, so there are no technological errors. It's really cool to have this data. So if you are thinking about investing your money, saving your money, if you're starting to get a nest egg, I strongly recommend you can use software to track this stuff, or you can just use Microsoft Excel and you can track your investments. I recommend doing it. That way you can see your progress. So this is how I actually originally got interested in starting a bookkeeping business. So if you've been a long time subscriber, you're probably thinking about starting a bookkeeping business. So stick around because I think if you are interested in starting a bookkeeping business, then you're also probably interested in tracking your own personal finances. That's how I got started. I was literally basically doing bookkeeping for my personal life, and it translates really well to doing bookkeeping for other business owners. So if you're super interested in personal finances and numbers and math and Excel spreadsheets, I know not many people are, but there are some of you out there. If you're actually really interested in that stuff, and if you've never thought about starting a bookkeeping business, maybe now's a good time. Check out some of my other videos. Definitely look into starting a bookkeeping business because tracking your personal expenses is the exact same thing that I do every day with business owners, and I get paid to do it. Let me give you a brief history of my life since I got out of college. I graduated college 21 years old, 9 years ago. I joined the Army when I was 22 years old. I was an infantry officer. I was in Georgia the entire time. I left the Army when I was 26 years old. We started having kids and family, and I wanted to move back home and spend more time with my kids and my wife. Left the Army when I was 26 years old, and I started working at Chewy.com in Pennsylvania. And then I only made it 1 year in the warehouse. Great job, not a great job for me. I left Chewy and I started working at Amazon, the exact same job, different company, at 27 years old. And at the same time I left Chewy, started working at Amazon, I also started going back to college and I took an intro to accounting class. And at 27 years old, I started my bookkeeping business at the same time that I quit Chewy and we just had another baby and I started working at Amazon. Needless to say, I only lasted at Amazon for 5 months until I quit my full-time job, and I've been running my bookkeeping business full time ever since 27 years old. So I'm coming up on 4 years of running my bookkeeping business. Now I'm 30 years old, and let me just be clear, in order to get where we are today, $694,000 net worth, we made a ton of sacrifices. We bought cheap clothes, we have cheap cars, we didn't go on a ton of fancy vacations. I don't wear an expensive watch or expensive shoes. We made a lot of sacrifices. And this is not for everyone. So if you love fancy cars and expensive vacations and designer clothing, this is not for you. Me personally, I love saving money and investing money. It's almost one of my hobbies. Kind of weird to say, but I truthfully enjoy saving money and investing my money. So if you love fancy cars and expensive watches and jewelry and going out to eat all the time, that's totally fine. This video is just not for you. I'm not trying to guilt trip you or pressure you into saving money and investing your money. This is simply what I enjoy. So we chose to make a ton of sacrifices. Our kids don't wear brand new clothing. We wear a lot of hand-me-downs. The reason I'm saying this is I want you to do whatever makes you happy. If you want to save and invest money so that you're financially stable in the future, hopefully this video will inspire you and motivate you because, like I said in the beginning, I am a huge advocate of financial transparency. I want to encourage you and teach you that you can make a lot of money, save a lot of money, invest your money, and be financially stable in the future. That's what financial transparency is all about. Education. I'm simply giving you a glimpse into my life, full transparency, full honesty, totally genuine. In this video, I have literally nothing to sell you. I'm just making this video because I am passionate about talking about personal finances, and I just love teaching other people what I know. That way, hopefully you can learn something, get you motivated, get you inspired, and you can turn your life around, or you can continue on the track that you're already on. Maybe you're struggling, or maybe you're already doing a great job. Either way, I hope this video helps you. I'm making this video honestly for myself. I'm documenting my journey. I plan on making more of these personal finance videos. Truthfully, I wish I would have made this video when I was 25 years old in the Army, just to see the growth that I've had over the past 5 years, but it's never too late to get started. Better late than never. I'm starting this video now when I'm 30 years old in July of 2024, and I plan on maybe updating this monthly, maybe quarterly. We'll see what happens. So I'm making this for myself. This is my own personal documentation. If you find it helpful, that's great too. Okay, enough of me blabbering on. Let's get to the juicy part. Let's talk about where is my money? What have I invested in? It's pretty straightforward. It's pretty simple. I have 2 checking accounts. I have more, but they don't really have much money in them. So let's just focus on the big stuff. I have 2 checking accounts, my personal checking account, and the time of this data is July 11th. July 11th, 2024, my personal bank account, $4,000 in my personal bank account. My business bank account, $10,000. My savings account, I use Marcus by Goldman Sachs for my savings account. They give me 4.5% interest, which is really, really high. That's probably temporary. Once interest rates go down, I'm sure that will also go down. But right now, July 11th, I had $163,000 in my savings account. So that means I had $177,000 of cash at the time that I made this video. Now I have a 401k and an IRA with Vanguard, and I have $118,000 saved up in my Vanguard investment account. And then my wife also has a Vanguard account, $51,000 in her 401k and IRA with Vanguard. We are both business owners, and I have a solo 401k with Vanguard, and so does she. So we contribute to our solo 401k, and we also contribute to our IRA. We also have investment accounts with Fidelity. So I have one, I think it's from a previous employer 401k rolled over into an IRA. With Fidelity, we have $35,000, and I have $35,000 and she has $21,000. And then my TSP, this is like a government 401k thrift savings plan, I have 28,000, and then in another 401k from a previous job, I have 21,000. So it's kind of spread out, and it's honestly pretty stressful to have all of my 401ks and IRAs spread out. I'm sure there's a financial advisor watching this video right now that's going to message me and say that you can consolidate all of my 401ks into one account. That's not a bad idea, but just for now, I have 6 different accounts between my wife and myself. 6 different accounts, $274,000 in our retirement account. So this is not a brokerage account. This is not money that we can access right now without incurring penalties. This is a retirement account, 401ks, IRAs. We cannot access this money until we're 60-ish years old. The majority of it is Roth. So we've already paid taxes on this money. So it's growing tax-free. And when we retire, when we pull out this money, we can probably pull out this money tax-free. So huge benefit. If tax brackets are higher, tax rates are higher, if we're in a higher tax bracket when we retire, we will get huge benefits by not paying taxes on this money. So I think I said $177,000 cash, $274,000 in retirement accounts. And then I'm also a private money lender. So I lend to real estate investors for acquisitions, for flippers and renters. So if you find a house that needs fixed up, you can buy it and you can rehab it and you can sell it. You can flip it. Or if you want to buy it, you can rehab it and then rent it out and then refinance with a bank. Either way, you can borrow money from me. I charge 12% interest plus 2 or 3 points in the form of origination fee. This is my long-term strategy because without getting into too many details, a lot of these real estate investors are flipping their properties in 3 months. So if you think about it, I'm getting 12% annual interest plus 2% origination fee every 3 months, which means I'm doing that 4 times per year, which means 2% times 4 is 8% plus that 12% annual interest. I'm getting seriously 20% interest on these private money loans. So I have 2 private money loans out right now at the time of this video. One was for $100,000 and the other one was for $120,000. Those are separate from my IRAs and 401ks, separate from my cash. These are private money loans. They're actually mortgages. So I have a note and a mortgage and a personal guarantee filed with the county on these properties, secured by a first lien position on these properties. So it's about as secure of an investment as you can get, backed by real estate. If the borrower defaults on the loan, I would foreclose on the property and I would get the property. So worst case scenario, they don't pay me back. They default on the loan, I foreclose on the property, and I get the real estate so that I can fix it up and flip it myself or rehab it and rent it out. Okay, now my personal house. My personal house right now, according to Zillow, is worth $632,000. We just moved in January. That's my personal residency. And when we moved in January, we kept our old house as a rental property. And that right now is worth $309,000. We bought it in 2019 for $200,000. The past 4 years, real estate in Pennsylvania has gone crazy. And so now it's worth $309,000. So those are all my assets. But we're not done yet. When I said net worth, we have to take into consideration my liabilities, things like mortgages, credit cards, and other loans, lines of credit, home equity line of credit. So I'm going to take all of my assets and then subtract all of my liabilities. So if we just look at assets, I have over $1 million of assets, but that's not the true picture because we have to subtract all of our loans. Like my house is worth $600,000, but my mortgage is $577,000. So I don't really have $600,000 in my house. If I sold my house right now, I would have to pay back the mortgage first. And so I would get less than $100,000 if I sold my house. So it's not really worth $600,000 to me because I'd have to pay off that mortgage. So let's look at the total picture. Net worth would be assets minus liabilities. So total assets, $1.6 million. Now let's look at the liabilities. I have a credit card with Wells Fargo, currently has an $8,000 balance. I got a 12-month 0% interest credit card. We just moved in January and we bought all of our furniture with this credit card. So if you're looking to make a big purchase, definitely recommend try to get a 0% interest 12-month credit card, rack up that balance, and then pay it off 12 months later. Don't miss that payment. Otherwise, you're paying interest on all of it. $8,000 on my credit card, $4,000 on my American Express credit card. That is our monthly credit card bill. We pay that off every month, no interest. We rack up about $4,000 or $5,000 in expenses every month. My loan on my primary residence, $577,000. My loan on my previous residence, which is now a rental property, $184,000. My mortgage is $1,300 every month, and my tenant pays $2,200. So yes, that property is cash flowing very nicely, only because we bought it in 2019 at a super low interest rate and rents have gone up crazy. And then finally, I have an SBA loan for my business, $145,000. So I basically have $918,000 of debt in the form of credit cards, mostly mortgages, and my SBA loan. So when we take my assets minus my liabilities, that's how we get $694,000 net worth. Last thing I'll say, of course, we have some furniture in the house. We have some electronics, a TV, laptops, computers. We have cars. I'm not including any of that because it's probably less than $30,000. And realistically, I'm only looking at the stuff that like has true cash value right now. Like if I wanted to sell all my furniture, there's no way I could get even close to what I paid for it. If we wanted to sell our cars, maybe, but then we'd have to go out and buy a new car. I can't sell my computers because I need them for work. We're not going to sell our phones. So we probably have $20,000 to $30,000 worth of vehicles, electronics, and furniture, but I'm not counting any of that stuff. I'm only really counting my cash, my savings accounts, my private money loans, my 401ks, my IRAs, my investments, and then I'm deducting my mortgages and credit cards and loans. So all in, $694,000. I'm 30 years old. I hope this video was cool. I love talking about this stuff. If you guys have any questions, definitely drop a comment below in this video and stay tuned. Maybe next month, maybe I'll give you guys an update.